founder and general manager of Roots Foundation, Mr. MTIMA Solwazi has emerged as a change agent for youth of Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Solwazi has spent more than 2 decades constructing a social movement that utilizes spoken word poetry and oral traditions as cultural expressions. At a time when young people of our country are facing violence, fractured identities, and the limited opportunities for authentic self-expression, Mr. Solwazi has provided a platform to nurture young poets, some of whom are mentors, educators, and leaders. The Roots Foundation has also partnered with other youth organizations which demonstrate Mr. Solwazi's commitment to embedding creative methodologies into institutions that often lack them. Welcome, Mr. MTIMA Solwazi.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Pleasure having you here and sharing with us your journey to this point. So now that we know MTIMA Solwazi 2025, we want a little history now of who MTIMA was to get to this point. So give us a little bit about your journey, a little history.
So again, good day and thank you for having me here. As I was mentioning, so this is a book I recently published. It's not available to the public as yet. So I did one printer, right, of it. It's called From Basic to Masters, The Story of Garth and MTIMA.
All right.
So MTIMA Solwazi was once upon a time Garth Edwards.
Yes.
And to answer that question, I'll just go to page 25 and I will read. Then came the moment that would change everything. One evening, after a long day of hustling, so I used to sell drugs as a youth. One evening, after a long day of hustling, Garth found himself sitting alone in his grandmother's yard, smoking a joint, marijuana, and watching the sun disappear into the horizon. The air was thick with the scent of ganja smoke. Leon Hill was unusually quiet, as if Belmont itself was taking a breath before another night of chaos. He absent-mindedly flipped through his copybook, reading over his poems, tracing the inked words with his fingers. The words felt different that night. It was then he realized these words, his words, was his only escape. They were the only thing that truly belonged to him, that no one could take away. They were his, untouchable, unstealable. The streets could take his youth, his friends, even his life, but they couldn't take this, his words. And for the first time, he considered the possibility that maybe, just maybe, this was what Miss Jan had meant all along. The decision came quickly and resolutely. He wouldn't die on the block. He knew he had made a mistake by leaving the ADP. The next morning, he returned to Servol, not as a boy running from the streets, but as a man searching for something more. He arrived early, stayed the entire day, and immersed himself in the sessions, the discussions, and most of all, his writings. So, I used to write poems as a youth, and I was thinking about, yesterday or over the weekend, why did I start to write poems? I'm not sure of the age, but when I was in primary school, it had the Dinament City with little writings like I love you,
yes,
nice and sweet. And
Yeah.
I used to buy these dinner mints and suck the dinner mint to give them girls the city papers. So sometimes it's like doing that. I was thinking about that over the weekend. And I always knew that I could write better one-liners than those.
Right.
I just knew I could have done it. And then Sweetie Paper went to Hallmark postcards. And again, I said, I could do better than that. And then I started to write to my then girlfriend, who became a child mother. But I hid that from everybody because it can't be selling drugs on the streets and
writing.
Right? It don't make sense.
Wow.
And then I started to frame them and give her these poems for like birthday, anniversary. And then her friends would visit and reading them and what? And I said, what? I have something. I think I could get more girls with these poems, you know? I think I have something. And I kept on writing, but I was very reserved with my writing. But I was always conscious and I was seeing death all around me, you know. And then my friends were dying from gunshots, what we call natural causes. We used to call gunshots natural causes.
Really?
Yeah. Because it was a natural way of life. Once you decide to go on the streets, you will die by gunshots. There are no two ways about it.
Wow.
Right? So, back in the 80s, we called dying from gunshots natural causes. Hey, so dead from natural causes, you know, you get gunshots.
Wow.
We had we used to call it the RARA, which was HIV/AIDS. And it was so much death all around me. And then I say, let me write no love poem again, boy. Not that there's anything wrong with love. I just didn't want to write love poem again when my friends dying.
Right.
When death is all around me. When you have abuse in the home, and I wanted to write about that. I wanted to find a way to address that, what I've been living and seeing by writing.
Okay.
So I write poems about gangs, poems about drugs, poems about abuse, you know, and that was my escape.
Okay.
Keeping it quiet, right? Because I didn't want anybody to know. I remember when I was in secondary school, then Belmont Boys Secondary,
right.
I went to Mr. Edinburgh, who does the Peregrine.
Yes. Yeah.
He was my dean at the time. I said, sir, I want to show you something. And I had my copybook. I always had my copybook with my poems. I said, look at this. And I showed him the copybook and he flipped through and he said, whoa, don't stop writing. Don't stop writing. Just a fast forward, I do Peregrine as a performance, and I was taught by Mr. Edinburgh.
So
at school, I did not know he was the Peregrine. I didn't know.
Really?
When I signed up for the course and I see they put Felix Edinburgh. I said, so let's do that. So I just showed a full circle.
Yeah.
In that aspect, that the man that told me, don't stop writing. I never stopped writing.
So those were teenage years. Formative years. And you are saying dying by the gun was natural.
Yeah, natural.
That was natural causes. Fast forward to 2025. So what would we call it now? If you had to now talk to a young man who would have been in Garth's position back then, what would you tell him? Or for those of you who don't know, you were a student, a trainee at Servol. So when you got that, for want of a better term, that awakening, that day, that epiphany, you were already in ADP.
I was still in ADP.
You were still in ADP. So what skill were you going to pursue at the end of ADP?
Auto mechanic.
What made the difference that day?
So listen, I attended Servol in 92. April to July was my ADP term. I was 20 years of age. So I was one of the oldest, because Servol back then was 16 to 19.
Right.
Our counselor is dead now. But he wrote a letter asking Servol to please accept this young man. He is at risk. I was 20 years old, right? And I was accepted. And I want to give you this story. I went to a funeral recently of a friend of ours. We grew up together. His mama died. So at that funeral, I seen everybody from small. And a real good friend of mine's, he was talking to somebody after and he said, hey, that was in the funeral. That? He's still alive?
Wow.
And my partner said, well, yeah. And the person's response was, he's still in gangster thing? And then my friend said, for you to ask that question,
You have not.
You don't know nothing about this man. He said, this man changed so much that he changed his name. He's now MTIMA SOLWAZI. And the person asks, how? My partner said that before that, my cousin told me about Servol. I had to get an adult to register me. And my mother wasn't going. She had done, boy, I don't know what to do with you again. So I had to get an adult. My partner telling me now, he and our next virgin who died, Bucket, going with his mother, registering Servol. And me start say, where got? Could two of us like three musketeers. Where got? And he say, he home. Then he said his mother told him, go and get got. And he came up by my grandmother and called me. And the three of us entered Servol on the beat to register. And I alone got in. And he telling the person, say, that man changed the day he walked in Servol. He said, he said, as he entered Servol, that was it for him. It changed. Now, I just say, I love, nobody can take Servol from me. I am Servol. Nobody could take Servol from me. And I'll be serious, but I'm very passionate. I don't make no joke with that. Right? Because I know what Servol did for me.
Correct.
I know what Servol did for you. Or you, I know what it did for me.
Correct.
I used to go to, it was difficult to put on a school uniform and go to school when every night you're selling books on the streets. Nobody in my entire time as Servol could tell you, the cigar to the gun. I had to face the streets going back home. I don't know why they see me in a uniform and say, that man ain't going back to school, he's a punk. I used to go to school, and I'll tell you something with Mr. Henry Cyrus, deceased. I love that man. So I used to sleep a lot in class. Well, I never used to reach 7:30 because I wake him when the night comes. So I used to reach 8, right? So I will be nodding in class, and always pulling up my pants. And I know at time Mr. Cyrus saw, because he was an old police, he saw that. He never told me anything, right? And I remember one time in class, he buffing up them fellas and saying, all have it easy. Somebody do no hard, others just have it. Yes, I come because he understand. He understood the life, and let's say he condoned that. Thank God he didn't call the police or anything, so right. But in Servol, I stopped selling. I realized I could do something better.
Wow.
I didn't know what the better was, but I knew I could have done something better. The first field trip, you go to the St. Vincent de Paul place on Duncan Street, and then you go up to Sunshine Hill. So I heard we going Duncan Street for a field trip. I said, oh my God.
That is your stomping ground. How are you doing that?
In a school uniform.
In a uniform. In a Servol uniform. How are you doing that?
What used to happen, when I leave home, I didn't used to leave in my uniform. I was straight in my bag. And then the river that taking it to the main road, I would dress in that river there, and then walk across it, must like a nice old school child. So when I heard you were going up Sunshine Hill, I say, God, them fellas will see me. So we went Duncan Street, nobody didn't see me. We were walking good. And I don't know why they didn't keep walking up Duncan Street. They turn on Duke Street. So the hell I'm going? And then appear on Nelson, I said, God, and as we break Nelson Street, my brethren saw me. And that man ball. What is that? I said, of course. You in a school uniform? What going on with you, boy? And said a shout. And I smiling. And I think I said, I was something different. The more fast track, he died of HIV AIDS. I used to take care of him. You're in a bed, in a mess. I used to go and take care of him, feed him, take him to the washroom, massage him. I'm a friend.
Yeah.
And he on this bed dying. And here we saying, God, don't change, eh? Don't change, you're going good. Yeah. And I say in my mind, wow, if I taken off that school uniform when he saw me many years ago,
Yeah.
what would I have been today? It's not easy. That I will tell a youth man.
Yeah.
So what's going on? You have to want, but I tell all the youths, you have to want it. Real bad. Let's be real. You want a girl, let's go out of the way. Man, let's go talk behind girl. Right? But then, if you want this change, go behind it.
If you want a life change.
Go behind it.
Yeah.
But guess what? It's not easy. It is not an easy journey. And I don't vex at nobody if they slip off. Because I know it's hard.
Yeah.
And it's harder now because of this. Hello. So we can't come down too much on the young people because this is very difficult to live in 2025. So I will what I just tell you, I say if you want it, you either want it. Right? And sometimes they may not have the resources to. Sometimes you have to move away from the environment because you live in now, you know. You and your now, you know.
Yes.
I might know. We are in there now.
Yes.
So there's very little you could tell them for them to see tomorrow because they know. I need this now.
No.
I could dead now. I have to hustle now. They know. It's a very difficult job to help our youth. And I just talk real to them. I said, listen, you're not seeing it now. And I'm not vexed. I'm not vexed at you. Because I was in my now.
Yeah.
You know it's here? It's out there. It's out there. I went to Servol about 2 weeks ago. One service center. And I speak about that same now thing. Because if I know a youth selling drugs, I just say, you're going to hell. No. You have to find
that niche.
Different alternative.
Find that.
Find something. I can't find it for you. And after I spoke to them, a boy come to me. And he said, sir, all I want to find out from you was why you make that change at that point in time.
Yeah. And
I shared with him. And he said, he is at that crossroad right now. And he wants out. He out there. But he's seeing, based on my story, that, hey, there is possibility.
It's possible.
There is a possibility I could get out of this. Because a lot of the young people, because they're in the now, they can't see it.
Yeah.
Because in a community that only have despair, violence, drugs, and you telling them, you know, you could become all what you could be, and say, what could I be? But you have to reassure them that there is a possibility. So whenever I share my story in this book, I no glorification of gangster life until because that's not important.
Yeah.
The important is coming out.
Coming out of it.
The journey. The struggle to come out. Right? And that's how it is engage young people. I have a young man in jail for murder right now. I went and looked for him on a special visit. He say, Mr. MTIMA, I now realize something. I said, what you realize? All these years you fighting for me? They're not fighting against you. But I could speak different languages, so yeah, I'm bilingual. So I spoke.
All right.
I spoke Trainee dialect. I cuss him out.
Right.
I say, you now realize that? You know you're in jail for murder. You're not coming out.
Yeah.
And you now realize all the time I fighting for you was fighting against me? Well, at least he now come to that realization. Let's see what he does this time there.
So I want you to talk a little bit about, so we still on the journey, and is it safe to say that Servol would have been a catalyst for change for you? Definitely.
Safe to say.
Safe to say.
Are you Servol?
Right.
When
So I
they
want
decipher my name, Garth, you seen
Servol coming.
Servol, like them kind of matrix thing.
After the ADP, what happened?
So, one step back. I left the ADP at one point in time. I left the ADP. I'm a boxer. I went back to Servol. When I talk about that night.
Okay.
Because I left the ADP because why? They want me to put my shirt in my pants. They want me to stop and see the hand. When my punishment at Servol used to be go in front of the flag and say the anthem and the prayer loud. That time everybody in the class, I can so 8 o'clock. That was my punishment, and I couldn't take it. Right? I had to keep my shirt in my pants. That was very helpful,
Okay.
But I couldn't handle all them rules. I didn't. Let's be real. People tell me put my shirt in my pants. People tell me line up. Put your hands at the side and see the anthem. I couldn't take that.
Right.
You know? I tried all trick. I remember time they fixed our car. I'll see this part of the story. They fixed our car on the compound. That's why I still there. I see them. I say, right, I cannot jump in the river. And I sneak by the bonnet. Right? Now nobody say, hey, the God now come. They ain't saying that. I sneak by the bonnet. I say, yeah, we check this spark plug there. And I started the music car.
Like if you did a long time.
Yeah, Alison, hey, God now come. Call him. And he said, no, she saw me, but I don't want to me from the flag and see the anthem of the prayer. So, but that's scary, but in ADP it was real tough. I still Servol Trainees. The ADP is the easiest, hardest program. Easy, you just have to be present. Hard, you deal with self.
Yes.
That is the challenge. We do like to deal with self. So I went, I left. That day I was leaving, Mr. Josiah was in the corridor. Son. And that next thing to he used to call his son. I didn't like that at all. Because I didn't grow with my father. Don't call me son. Right? I didn't like it at all. Son. Where are you going? I said, Mike, shut up here, boy. And I went back on the block. That's how that part of the book came in.
Right.
So I went back hustling and I realized, oh God, it's easier in Servol. You know, I just had to line up, put my shit in my pants. On the block that I was the police. What if they want to kill you? I decided, I get an epiphany, I'm going back. About 3 or 4 days after, there is about 3 days. When I going back, he didn't stay there for the 3 days. But I met Mr. Josiah in the same spot. Oh, my son. And I just started, I started to walk towards that man and I crying and I hugged him up. When I met Father Pantin, and everybody know the story, Father Pantin, he said, when I started to work Servol, he said, tell me, he and Sister Ruth, we go into business meetings, MTIMA, I will tell them what they told me the first day they met me. I said, Father, you're mad or what? He said, MTIMA, you have to tell them that. I said, well, Father, I was very disrespectful. He said, that is what they need to know. Right? Page 23, this chapter is called Who Am I? His first encounter with Father Pantin was legendary. During an initial self-awareness session, God stood as instructed, only to watch a little white man walk in. He scoffed internally. Is a I stand for a white man? When the priest introduced himself, God's disdain deepened. And is a damn priest too? Without hesitation, he raised his hand. I raised my hand, son, Father Pantin, entertained my question, and I said, you can't teach me nothing. 1, he's a white man, and 2, he's a priest. The room tensed with shock and disdain. When to everyone's surprise, even me, Father Pantin erupted in laughter. That moment cemented the foundation of an unbreakable bond. Soon Garth was nicknamed God Pantin. The priest didn't lecture him. He guided him. He's shifting God's perception of life, of himself, through each self-awareness session. Every session, I used to sit in front. I do believe, after a while, I stopped believing in going to the back. You
Yeah.
can't put me no back to salon. I in front. And every self-awareness session, this man teaching on the board, I tearing up because he's saying this man have to be a obia man. How he know about me? Because every self-awareness session, I saw myself. Right?
Mm.
I love I could say
Yes.
I was probably one of the best self-awareness EDP instructors in Servol. Because I love self-awareness and he used to take me and tell these people, I say, nah, Father, I was disrespectful then because I was shocked. Looking back that I tell Father Pantin that. And he laughed. And I'm telling you, probably to the displeasure of some.
Yeah.
Father Pantin, you all know me, boss?
Nice.
So my name was God Pantin. Not to say I could do wrong and get away to them.
Yeah.
But that's Father Pantin's son.
The imprint. Yeah.
And then I became a woman called Miss Stallmeyer's son, Marilyn Stallmeyer. I put that here to her. It was Iron Lady's story.
Yes.
She was real bad. I don't know why. Who's this bad woman? So I want to find her, but I don't know who she is. But that always helpful. So they'll see my graduation, they moving chairs, mopping, sweeping. And somebody bought Miss Stallmeyer. And I say, you is Stallmeyer? If I know the woman, she did. Spicy. I say, you so bad and you so small? And she and all start to laugh. And in skills, I graduate from God Pantin to God Stallmeyer. Up to today, her children, her husband, that say, dies the black brother, the mother black son. I'm telling you, up to this day. So, that all these are little things that help guide you that you wouldn't really pay attention until later on you realize, you know, the person who's so mean in Servol, you're under the wing.
Yeah.
You know, the father of Servol. So you come to Servol now and you get a father and you get a mother. The only thing now is that change evolve to take place. I wasn't really aware of that.
How was your experience as an instructor? How did that happen? How did that happen?
I have been called Servol blue-eyed child. I don't know what the hell I mean. I have no blue eyes. Right? I didn't make Father Pantin like me. I didn't. My mother, after I leave Servol years after, my mother telling me, hey, I see the priest, he asked for you. And who priest? Then she, Father from Servol. I say, you know me, sir? So I used to work in a security in a store in Port of Spain. And every day, Mr. Josiah will pass and say, come back to Servol. As an adult,
Right.
He say, Father Pantin always asking for you, come and work Servol. I say, sir, teach. I can't teach. I don't know teacher. He say, come. I used to live on the beach that time. And then I wake up to go to work and I just, sometimes wake up and I say, I ain't going to work today. Then I said, I'm going Servol. And I walk across. I saw a white car parked up with the front door open on the driver's side and the car ignition on. I said, Mr. Cyrus, what's going on? He said, I said, who car is that? Then my father, he now run back upstairs. I said, Father? I went upstairs. Knock on the door open. And my hand went in. And when Father saw me, say, Ruth, this is what I'm talking about. There's a Muslim. I was not a Muslim in Servol. That means that priest been having tabs on me all the time. And you know what he said? This is what I was talking because he would have been telling sister about this Muslim, but she do. Who Muslim? When Servol, you know? Around that time he talking about, and he say, this is what I'm talking about, there's a Muslim. So I used to know, what happened? And your sister, what are you doing now? I said, well, I work in a store. You want to work Servol? I hear Mr. Josiah in my head. Come back to Servol, come back to Servol, come back to Servol. I say, yeah, I mind. But when it could start, that was Thursday. The EDP had started Wednesday. That was the Thursday. So I could start Monday, come in the morning. In 2001. Right? And I am telling you, my first assembly, I heard the instructor saying, "Oh, father could bring him back here." Terrible, 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 terrible. And I the assembly, and I laughed and I said, "Oh my God."
How you feel standing up by the flag? From a different perspective. From a different perspective.
I don't want to sound bad, I get a national award, I love this anthem. And let's start up with the anthem now. Some instructors still working Servol, and they are proud of me now. I tell you,
Yeah.
an instructor walk up to me, stand up and say, "Do this. You? He bring you back here?" But I left Servol Garth Edwards.
And you came.
But when I returned, I was MTIMA SOLWAZI. First time in the EDP, I used to get some licks from them children. So I used to go at Mr. Mackey to complain. I said, "Mr. Mackey, I can't take it." And he would sit down and say, "Them children doing this, them children doing that, they doing the other." And when I done him, "Okay, Garth Edwards." And I jump. He said, "God send you back here for a reason. Go back in the class and deal with them." Yeah, it wasn't easy, right? But I understood my journey. It took me a while because I didn't know trainees to be able to. I used to want to know who the hell the instructors managed me.
When did you know that, okay, this phase of my journey has now come to an end and I move on to the other path? Meaning, when did you know that Roots Foundation would have been your baby? That would have been what would have taken, your time and
Right. So
energy and stuff.
I always wanted to do something like Servol.
Okay.
Because I knew Servol saved my life and I wanted to give back. Right? Coming to work in Servol is just one part of it.
Correct.
Right? But I really wanted to listen. I know Parapatin's whole story. I read The Silent Prophet, more critic called Servol, because I really studied this man's life. I just wanted to continue like his legacy now. So Roots Foundation today evolved into it. It started off as a newsletter, right? Because I always wanted to give voice to people. So when I came public, when I became Muslim in 94, I joined the Islamic Resource Society. They were doing poetry and drumming and things. I said, "What?" So I let people know I was a poet.
Correct.
There was no shame again. I know.
People come out.
People jump out.
Correct.
People jump out. And I formed Roots Foundation. Roots is an acronym, reflection of our oral traditions. Right? And I started a newsletter at Servol when that newsletter started. So Roots started in 2005. So I was working Servol already.
You were still at Servol, right?
So I used to share the newsletters in Servol. I used to read. I would have like a editorial in front. And I let people send poems. And I'll populate the inside poems, the two spreads, and the back was for me, for my poem.
Okay.
And I would use some of the topics and read to the students. I'll give the students the newsletters for them to read. And then I started to take children to poetry competitions in Nalis. Right? I think we won about 2 or 3 times in a row. And I think the third time we won, challenge the other shout out, "Servol again," and I write an article called "Servol Again."
Servol Again.
I put it in the newsletter. How we beat up all these
in school.
Hello, all. So but it was a newsletter, right? And I was running it as a newsletter bi-monthly and an annual magazine. And then who I am, I looking at again, yes, I'm promoting poetry and thing, but people still getting killed, was dying, this, that. And I decided to start an organization. So I registered Roots Foundation in 2009 as the oral tradition, Roots Foundation. And we started have our own competitions. Because if you tell me, MTIMA, I'm not giving them flowers, I'm going to plant them flowers myself. You understand? But I have a serious, you can't tell me why I can't get. You can't tell me that it's not for me. I real serious about that, you know. Right? So, because what make that so special that you alone could have it?
Yes.
That don't make no sense. So, I started keeping my own competitions, Roots Poetry Slam. Then we move into Cascado, an annual festival. We bring poets from all over the world. And then we started to do workshops. I was in YTC when it was YTC from 2005 or 4 till now. It's years I've dedicated myself to just giving back. No?
Yeah.
I worked Servol until 2015, but I left the payroll. I have never left Servol. Let's check any center.
Oh yeah.
Like the end of term, you will see Mr. Solwazi, I do a mail call, I am woman, and mail call, I am woman. We started that. I was instrumental. I am woman. I will credit Paul Miller because she told me, get something for the woman now. And then we decided to use I am woman. Mail call started on the bottom, and then Deborah the coordinator, because we saw there was a need for a strong male image for these young men now. Right? So, and then a lot of the work I do in my organization is built on Servol. So the gospel according to Servol, respectful intervention, lack of cultural arrogance, attentive listening.
Yes.
And as parents, we know this is the last you just listen with. This is the first you just listen with. Because the body speaks volumes.
Correct.
In terms of language.
Yeah.
And the philosophy of ignorance. Father Pankin has taught us in Servol, and because I put that as a mandate in my organization. You must practice respectful intervention. You must practice attentive listening, lack of cultural arrogance, and the philosophy of ignorance. You don't know nothing. Hello, that priest was a boss, you know. Don't get cavity, you know. And then I add the fifth one from Uncle George Dickey McLean. Uncle George Dickey McLean say, tough love. You know? And he explained to you, if somebody crossing the road, I say, hey, watch your car? And they still crossing, you have to yank them out the road. I like that yanking part. So, and in our process of how we plan and execute a program is built on attentive listening, lack of cultural arrogance, philosophy of ignorance, and respectful intervention. It's built on that. My name, MTIMA SOLWAZI, came from Servol. So when we took on a field trip, because we had a little group of us who were real terrible, boys and girls, So Servol decided they're going to separate us on this particular field trip. One group going down Chagaramas, one group going so, and they sent me in a maxi to a place called African Association. So when you go now, this nice place, like a kind of museum and thing. So I tell the woman, I say, I don't like my name, you know. And she, why? What's the name? I say, Garth Edwards. I say, I don't like my name at all. Tell me qualities. I say, people that say I have a good heart. And I know plenty. And you see this paper here? This is the actual paper she gave me. Right? She gave me the name MTIMA SOLWAZI. MTIMA means heart. Nkosi is king. And Solwazi is knowledge. As I say, call me that from now. That's my name now. MTIMA SOLWAZI. So I had that name since 92 in the ADP. And I only assume that name officially, let me say, in 94, 95. So I left Servol. I wouldn't think I left the payroll. I wouldn't think I left the payroll, right? But those children are my focus.
Right.
So much so that almost every trainee for that 15 years, I know their mother, the father, the grandmother, one of them father coming from his Sweet Simon. I know you ain't going to remember this voice. They saw us, oh God, we close. But my focus is the children.
Nice.
So when I left Servol, I remember Mr. Pacheco asked me, why are you leaving? And my response was, when father left CIC to start Servol, he said, yes. I said, I am leaving to start Root Foundation. My business outside there, I didn't say a word. To the extent that last term was one of my most successful terms. I spoke public speaking competition with them children. You see, boy, the last day of my employment, I was painting the ceiling in Bitham Discovery room, the main room. I done paint the whole room in the back, so I alone paint. I tell Junior come in, I say, so we go handle everything, man. Because that is my way now saying goodbye. Right? And I left. The payroll. 2015 till now, you know, and I can show you my calendar full up, not because of these awards. So the first time I traveled, the second time I traveled was on a big program with the US Embassy called IVLP, International Visitors Leadership Program. We're going to DC. Then we're going Nevada, then New Orleans, and then LA. We're going to meet different organizations, school. I say, I call Helen. I said, Helen, I need some material from Servol. I'm going on a trip, and they need to know about Servol. My carry-on. And I check in and I carry on. Could you give us that? My carry-on was pamphlet, books, all kind of things from Servol. I had some stuff from Root Foundation too. And my wife watching me packing Servol material and not working Servol, right? In 2016 and even 2015, and not working Servol and packing. Especially, you might be the only person in the world who leave our organization and promoting it like that. I say, I understand the value of Servol.
Yeah.
And I make my packages. I got something from the Ministry of Tourism, got the bag, and I put some nice package. Every place I went, hand them a package. They know about Servol, they know about Root Foundation, they know about CSP, they know about Trinidad and Tobago. Right? So, that is the value. Go through any interview you see me on TV, on radio talking. Any interview you hear me always mention Servol, because how could you not mention your umbilical cord in your process of delivery? The child just born. You check your umbilical cord?
Yeah.
There was something attaching that embryo to life. And that's what Servol did for me was. All these things here, all these certificates.
I have a Servol tree on them.
Hello. I never graduated from my secondary school.
Oh.
I went to the graduation center to walk up and thing. So I never knew what it felt like to graduate. I graduated from Servol. I got a certificate. I said, oh God, my certificate. I never had that before. Right? I went high-tech. They my high-tech certificate. Right? She was funny to afterwards. I got a Cambridge IT course. Remember the leadership program? Some little award from Servol. Everything is Servol. They were not training Servol. Right? We got next Servol. All our training it. Right? ADP. I alter training from Servol. I did the alter program. And then I realized now, Servol is not for no duncy children.
Okay.
Servol is a stepping stone for higher education.
Yeah.
And I started to push in my ADPs. You guys could go to university. Because this is what they're teaching in university at a higher level, you know? This is UV.
Right.
I get right next to you, you know. I make plenty C's, you know. I thought I was doing a Spanish course, C senor, C senor. I thought I was doing some kind of ocean thing, and C. But it didn't really determine because I know where I came from. A levels was a bridge to UE. I didn't go do A levels.
Right.
So it was real hard, right? But I did manage to make it with my bachelor's,
All right.
right?
So,
And then when I did my bachelor's now, with the award, the national awards.
tell us about that a little bit. How did you feel when you got the phone call? How does that work? You tell me. Walk us through that.
Oh Lord! So listen, I know everybody who get a award will know that you have to be nominated.
Yes.
Right? I knew about the process. I was nominated. Then 3 institutions endorsed the nomination. Right? So I knew about the process, but the process started like back in June or something. So then, like a week or 2 before, I got a phone call. I don't like prank calls. Right? I just speak dialect when people call me prank call because I find, oh God, you're not to do it. Hello. I was authorized by the Prime Minister to call you. I say, okay. I know the Prime Minister don't have my number. So how you could call me on behalf of the Prime Minister? Then say, I have been awarded the Hummingbird Silver Medal if I will accept. I say, hello. Right now my belly hot in me. Right? Come on, belly said I'm not up. You want to laugh. I say, all right. I'll go take it. Okay. Right? I accept. She say, somebody will contact you either. So, Wednesday morning now, just out in the media. Phone calls, ting. And I still processing. I'm being honest with you. I'm trying to process and find out, what does it mean? What does it mean? And then it dawned on me. I say, MTIMA, look where you come from, boy.
There you go.
And they gave you a national award?
There you go.
I said, boy, this is for Belmont, Leon Hill, Bartlett, Maloney. So
this for them.
I am just wearing this, but this represents everybody. And the phone calls, right? And you can't call me, say, but MTIMA, people hear that story, but they don't know that story. We have to understand, and I could have done that because I lived that life. I understand that issue of trying to be validated. Boys just want validation from men. Black men just want validation from black men. Let's be real.
Yeah.
I have to understand my role and my purpose and apply it in that way. It don't be easy. Because sometimes them close to us fight, you know. Fight you and you still to knock them out. Tough love.
Tough love.
You see, they apply tough love.
Yeah.
But then we have to do it. We have to do it. Because I know how it feels for your life to be saved. I don't play with this work, you know. I don't play with this work.
Okay, so we have another one.
When they gave us this, I was shocked. And I love this. I done studied a long time already and
nice
using this because there's a seal saying you have been given a national award.
Yes.
Hello.
What would you say to Agatha Edwards today?
Live your life. Not being real. People ask me, what would you tell your 16-year-old self?
Yeah.
I will never change anything, but live your life. Let me tell you something. You gotta guide them. Right? You don't want them reckless. But let them live their life. Let them live, let them learn, let them understand. You know, so we gotta guide them and let them live their life. Right? I will, trust me, I will never, ever change anything.
It's easy to say thank you now because of the dedication and the hard work that you've put into this life-changing process for youth. But more so, now that I know you've written a book, it's a definite must-read for me. So you make sure and let us know when it's printed and so on. But I want to say thanks to God, because I met MTIMA years ago, like I said, in ADP training. And that person that I met was the very confident, self-aware, strong, individual. But after this conversation now, I think I really need to say thank you to God. Because if he didn't walk the road, he didn't live, fight, and run away to fight another day, I wouldn't be having this conversation with MTIMA today. I want to say thank you on behalf of Servol. I want to say thank you on behalf of the young people, not just the trainees that you would have taught over the years, but generally. I am now sitting and having a conversation with a National Award recipient who would have come from the belly of Servol. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being unapologetic. Thank you for, thank you for being you. Yeah. Thank you for being you. Thank you to your family.
Yes.
Especially, I wish you all the best.
Amen.
I wish Roots Foundation, all the best.